All right, sitting down with Coach Dapkus of the baseball team. And Coach, your team just finished its first 3 games of the season, first MIAA team to be in action this year. Do you feel like your team benefited from having this early competition?
I think you benefit anytime you get a chance to play, and especially with the way the weather worked out up here. It looked like it was rainy all weekend, so we probably would have been inside, not gotten much accomplished. So the ability to get on a field and play against a very quality team will benefit us. Obviously, the results didn't go the way we wanted them to, but we did get some, and we talked about this last week, getting some questions answered a little bit about maybe where guys need to be in the lineup and who needs to be playing. Some of those questions are starting to get answered.
Well, your team went up against a Southeastern Oklahoma State team that has a lot of preseason expectations. It's in a different conference than it was, but they won the conference they were in last year, and so you were going up against a team that people think is going to be very good. What did you like about the way your team performed?
I thought we pitched it pretty good. I thought we played good defense. Ran the bases pretty good, but obviously if you look at our offensive stats, we did not swing it anywhere nearly good enough to beat a quality team, and that's something that if you're going to beat a quality team, you need to have all phases of the game working. And like I said, pitching kept us in the game. We didn't make any really major defensive problems. We had a couple errors here and there, but that's to be expected the first couple of games out. Our base running was okay. We just did not swing it, and that's something that we're going to spend the next week and a half trying to get worked out a little bit better, so that for our next games against Henderson State, that we can make much more of a impact on the game from the offensive side. We just did not put enough pressure on them from our side in terms of our offensive game. So,
what did you learn about your team in their first extended action?
That's a good question. We got some of our questions answered about our pitching staff. We felt like we threw some of our better guys, and they kept us in the game just like we were hoping they would do. We played good enough defense. The questions are obviously from the offensive side. We have way too many strikeouts right now. We had a lot of guys not swing the bats even with 2 strikes, and that's something that we need to put balls in play for our offense to be effective, and we just did not do enough of that.
Well, in the second game, obviously your best game of the weekend, went into extra innings. You scored 5 runs, and in the end they scored 6. But clearly your team proved that they could compete at with a team like that in that game. So what happened in that game that allowed you to be so successful, especially early on?
Really, in the first game we lose 7-0, and we give up 2 3-run homers with 2 outs in different innings. So we competed in that game, even though the score doesn't really reflect it. In the second game, we got up to, I think it was a 5-0 or 5-1 lead. And the one thing that worked for us is we were able to get the leadoff guy on base for us, and that allowed us to kind of get things going a little bit offensively. We put some pressure on them defensively. Their pitchers hit a couple of our guys, and we did a pretty good job of just getting ahead to 5 runs. Now, during that game, we were kind of like, man, I don't know if 5's enough. It would be nice to have 7 or 8 or something like that. And it did come back to haunt us a little bit, but I mean, we showed that we can play with them. I think we had 12 hits on the day, or for that game specifically, and it was a very exciting game for early on in the year, going the 13, 14 innings, and both teams had numerous opportunities to maybe score in extra innings and all that kind of stuff. And then when you lose that game as a coach, you're paranoid about what the team's going to react to that, and we had to start the next game, within 10-15 minutes, and we were just kind of flat, and Chris did not throw good at the beginning, and the other team, Southeast got some runs on us early, and we just couldn't respond, which is a concern. We'd like to be able to bounce back from a tough game. We're going to have to do it during the year and all that kind of stuff, but we felt like they were definitely if they were in the MIAA, they would definitely be a playoff caliber team, so we kind of know what we need to work on and what areas we got to get better. If we want to make a run at the playoffs, we got to be able to beat teams like that. Not just beat them, but win a series from them. And we got some work to do still.
And then finally, we talked about this last week, but you have a lot of new players, and a bunch of them got time on the field. Yeah. Colby Shepard had a few hits. Logan Smith looked like he made a few plays just going off of the stat sheets. Whose play among the newcomers stood out to you?
Easily the top one is St. Pierre. He played shortstop for us. I think he's hitting like .571 so far, so if he can keep that up for the whole year, I think we'll be good. But he had a lot of good quality at bats, and that is what is going to work for us. What we need now is the rest of the lineup to kind of follow his format a little bit about what was working for him. He stayed in the strike zone. He swung at good pitches. He got hit by a couple. He did anything he could to get on base, and that's what's going to work for us. We've got to be very creative about how we get to first base, and then from there we can let our hopefully our wheels take over and put some pressure on the defense and get our guys in situations where there's not a lot of pressure in them up at the plate, batting with less than 2 outs and guys in scoring position and all the things all the coaches talk about. We just we put a lot of pressure on ourselves and we did not respond to it, and we're going to try to fix that as fast as we can.
All right, Coach. Thanks for your time.
Okay.